Hey everybody, this is Oscar from Nektar Tech, and today we're going to be talking about the Panorama series. Panorama is all about workflow. It's all about Nektar's very specific kind of integration with your DAW. And so, really for me, when I'm working in the studio, there's a couple things that really stick out to me. And one is on the mixing side of things, how the screen itself on Panorama actually gives me pretty much all the information that I need to be working in the DAW. So in this case, I've got Cubase open right now, and if I want to go over and start working with the mixer or the mix console, I can just hit the view button and the mix console will actually pop up on screen. I can go through and select individual tracks using the fader buttons here at the bottom. I've got a really nice 100mm motorized fader that I can write automation with as well too. So let's take a look at how we can go through and use the channel strip editor using the keyboard itself. So I can actually bring up the editor holding down Shift and View, and it'll pop up on screen. And we have our display buttons here at the bottom. So by default, what you see is EQ, inserts, effect sends, and channels. So if I hit EQ, I can actually go through and enable certain bands of my channel strip EQ here within Cubase. Now that it's activated, I can go through and actually tweak with the 8 knobs over to the right. So you'll see there's 8 knobs actually on screen. That obviously that corresponds with the 8 knobs here on Panorama as well. The display buttons will change depending on what I have currently selected. So right now I have selected the third band to be on essentially. So if I turn that back down a bit, I can kind of peek that and go through and tweak that as well too. So I have complete control over the EQ strip. I can see what's happening. I can change the Q as well too if I want to, and flip back and forth between filter frequency. Now if I wanted to go through and mess with inserts, I just easily do that. I go to inserts, and essentially it shows me all my slots on the screen here. So I can go through and actually activate a particular insert directly from the keyboard itself as well too. So maybe I want a compressor. It'll pop up in Cubase, and then I can hit the edit button, and I'll see all of the controls for that particular plugin that I can control here on Panorama as well. So for example, I have my ratio that I can control here. I've got the threshold I can control. If I want to go to expert mode, I can go to expert mode on this FabFilter compressor and tweak to my heart's content essentially. And really, this is that Nektar integration that I was talking about. It's about making something that makes sense. It's about having integration that is all dependent on workflow. Oftentimes, when you're working with any sort of plugin and you're using a keyboard that's integrated, you might have 70 pages of parameters and they're labeled page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. We really wanted to avoid that and make something that makes sense, is easy to use. You can clearly see what you want, and in the end, you don't have to go through and customize it because we've done the best to our abilities to make sure that it's set out in a way that makes sense for an engineer, a musician, etc. So that's how integration works as far as inserts go. If I want to come through and switch over to instruments, I can pick one of my virtual instruments here. Let's go pick this one. I can switch from mixer mode over into instrument mode. And then just as earlier, you'll see all the, well, by default, the 8 knobs are actually set to the 8 most common parameters on a virtual instrument that would give you the greatest effect on sound. So things like filter cutoff, etc. if you're using a synth. I can pop up the interface by hitting the view button now that we're in instrument mode. But once again, the beauty of Nektar integration is that instead of seeing page 1, page 2, page 3 for this particular plugin, I can hit menu, and then what I see on screen is home, global, oscillators, mixer, filter. So we've already grouped them for you. So if I want to go through and only tweak, let's say, the filter section, I select filter, and now these 8 knobs are controlling just the filter section. So it's a really great and intuitive way to go through and tweak your instrument. You can always go through and reassign things if you wanted to on the fly. Very easy to do. But like I said, for the most part, all of our integration, it makes sense. It's easy to read, especially because you have this beautiful display here that gives you exact feedback coming from the software of what you need to see. And literally, I can pretty much do everything from here. And I think that's a big thing because if you're a musician, you want to stay at your instrument. And I think, the hardest thing as a musician is, okay, I'm ready to play, and then, oh, I forgot something, I have to jump back to the computer, back and forth and back and forth. We don't want to have that back and forth. We want to have your instrument in front of you. You want to keep you in the mood. And that really is what Nektar integration is all about. That's what Panorama is all about. This is the P6, which is a 16-1-note keyboard. We also have a P4, which is a 49-note keyboard. And then maybe you just want the integration. You want the knobs and faders. We have the P1, which is a little control surface that can easily add on to your studio just as well. So that's a quick overview on the Panorama series from Nektar. If you have any other questions on any other Nektar Tech products, please feel free to contact your Sweetwater sales engineer.